This is the early review of the 2024 Kia EV9 SUV. So the Kia EV9 is an all-new, first-generation electric three-row SUV. We bought the Wind trim. It's also the least expensive version that you can get with all-wheel drive. The Wind trim is the one that we feel most people are going to buy, and also speaking to Kia, they expect that that's going to be the most popular version overall. Our EV9 Wind with the long-range battery, it came with dual sunroofs, heated and ventilated power-adjustable front seats, heated steering wheel, wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay capability, and a hands-free power-operated rear liftgate. We only have one option on it, carpeted floor mats for $225. And the total cost, including the $1,495 destination charge, was $65,620. So at first glance, you might say to yourself, well, isn't that just electric version of the Kia Telluride? It's not, but you're not wrong in saying that they look similar. Length, width, height, the numbers are almost identical between the two SUVs. But the key difference is in wheelbase. The Kia EV9 is 8 inches longer, and that translates into a lot more interior room, particularly in the second row. But all that aside, it's an EV, and the things you're gonna wanna know, charging speed, battery size, and driving range. Our SUV comes with a 99.8 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery, which drives 2 motors. That gives it all-wheel drive, and those 2 motors combine to make 379 horsepower. So it can accept 350 kilowatt DC fast charging. That is, if the public DC fast charger is working. According to the EPA, the EV9 Wind is rated at 280 miles of range. It'll take 14 and a half hours on a 240 volt level 2 charger to replenish the battery from empty. And of course, like every EV we test, we're going to be putting the EV9 through our exclusive 70 mile per hour highway range test. And those findings will be part of our final road tests on consumerreports.org. So far, as we're putting on our 2,000 break-in miles, we found that it has pretty decent handling for a three-row SUV, but you're always aware of its weight. It's 5,715 pounds. That's 1,400 pounds heavier than the Telluride. It'll be interesting to see how it performs in our driving evaluations, particularly our emergency handling test. So while the EV9's blocky exterior styling is unique, the interior has its own special touches as well. Like every new vehicle almost, it's dominated by a giant screen. In reality, it's two 12.3-inch screens butted up next to each other. There's the gauge cluster for the driver, but everything else, climate controls, media, mapping, etc., are all handled by the center screen. It's got some big tiles here. You can slide back and forth and make choices. Gone are the days of all the little icons all over the screen. Now you have defined sections. Underneath that, you have touch-sensitive controls or capacitive touch. They give a little bit of feedback when you press it, but still, it's not the same as a real hard button. It also gets a little bit annoying when you're using the touchscreen, because once you rest your hand here, you might end up changing the screen to something else. Or typing something in and you rest your hand, all of a sudden you activate media. Or you're typing your hand, put your hand here, and you're gonna activate the map. So really not great. However, it does get a little better beneath that, because there are some hard controls. For example, audio volume, temperature controls, fan speed, the different mode, for example, for your airflow. While having physical buttons for the climate control are nice, most of the functions are actually handled through the infotainment screen, and that's a problem because they're totally blocked by your hand when it's on the steering wheel or the steering wheel rim itself. You have to press a little plus button for it to shoot out, where you could do some adjustments such as selecting the rear or the front, auto, driver only, etc. But still, defroster, rear defroster, recirculate, air conditioning, it's all in this area that's blocked from your vision. It makes it much more difficult to operate while you're driving. Dropping down to the other kind of annoying thing about the interior is that the gear selector is here, kind of hidden on the steering wheel. It's also where the start button is. Instead of being on the dash or just being an EV where you get it and go, the start button's hidden over here, and you then use the twist knob to select drive, reverse, neutral, and park. Better than some of the other weird ones that are out there, but it still is awkwardly placed. So a couple other controls, the heated steering wheel and the heated and ventilated seats buttons are now on the door, no longer on the dash or center console. That's gotten a little bit of griping from some of our testers, mainly because it's new. It's just very different for Hyundai and Kia. So kind of in your everyday use things, there's this giant bin down here where you can throw a bag, a wallet, phone, whatever you want. But it is kind of loose and open and exposed. Unfortunately, the only real covered area for storage aside from the glove box is this tiny little space that's under the center armrest. So look, the key thing with any vehicle is you're always gonna be sitting in the driver's seat at the minimum. So you want something comfortable. So far, I found them to be pretty supportive. Good bottom cushion, good bolstering on the side. I particularly like these head restraints. They're kind of like an office chair with the mesh there, but unlike most vehicles which have a very heavy, hard, thick pad back there for head restraint, these are a little soft, so they make it kind of comfortable to rest your head against instead of making it like, you're sleeping on a rock hard pillow at a cheap hotel. So the second row seat is downright gigantic. In a regular push back position, there's a ton of legroom. I had 3 kids, backpacks, winter coats. All the comments were, this seat is huge. You can also slide it forward if you need to, so that you can give more room to the third row occupant. Plus, probably the best thing is that Kia and Hyundai have started adopting this one-button touch system to flip the seat forward. So a kid can come up and press his bottom button, and the seat flips up, and they can get right into the third row seat. So that's our early review of the Kia EV9. Check back for our full road test results at consumerreports.org.